Hi, good morning class. Again, welcome to my next lecture, that is lecture 6 of Managerial Economics. So, this lecture is in continuation with the elasticity of demand and the various types of elasticity of demand that we have discussed. Now, in this lecture, we are going to discuss the other types of elasticities of demand, that is income cross advertising, then how we can measure the elasticity of demand and demand forecasting. So these are the three topics that we are going to discuss in this lecture. So now previously we have discussed about price elasticity of demand. उसमें हमने 5 types की price elasticity of demand के बारे में discuss किया था, जिसमें था goods for comfort, goods for necessities, luxurious goods, and so there are some types of goods up to which the elasticity of demand decides that what is the nature of that particular good, whether that good belongs to a luxury, whether it is a part of necessity, or whether it is a part of comfort. So now we are going to have a discussion regarding income elasticity of demand. Here we are talking about the income of the consumer. If you are earning 50,000 rupees, then what is the result of increase or decrease in that income level? So that we are going to discuss in this session, where the quantity demanded is determined by the income of the consumer. That means whatever the goods that are going to manufacture by the company, now how the quantity can be determined, and that quantity can be determined with the help of the income of the consumer. अगर consumer की income ज़्यादा होगी, so the consumer is going to buy more of the commodity or more expensive commodity. That means the quantity of the goods can be determined only by the income of the consumer. In other words, income elasticity of demand measures the responsiveness of quantity demanded to changes in real income. For example, if there is a person A and he is earning a salary of rupees 25,000, so he has planned to purchase a motorbike. As soon as after a period of 2 or 3 years he got an increase in salary about 50,000. Now he is planning to purchase a four-wheeler. That means as the income of the Mr. A increases, then he decided to purchase the car. And when he is earning a limited income, then he had decided to purchase the motorbike. That means the income of the consumer is directly related with the quantity demanded of the commodity. As income increase, demand for the good increases, so quantity demanded at the same price also usually increases. That means अगर consumer की income increase होगी, तो quantity demanded same price पे भी बढ़ेगी. Cross elasticity of demand. Cross price elasticity measures the responsiveness of demand for good X following a change in price of good Y. That means here we are talking about the substitute. If due to one reason or the other, the demand of the price of one good increases, then the people will switch to the next best alternative available in the market. That means here we are going to have a discussion of substitutes. So up to what extent the demand is going to increase and decrease of a related good by the consumer, so that responsiveness is measured with the concept of cross elasticity of demand. जब substitutes की increase और decrease in demand को हम measure करते हैं, तो वो कहलाता है आपका cross elasticity of demand. And the formula is percentage change in quantity demanded of product A upon percentage change in price of product B. With cross price elasticity, we make an important distinction between substitute product and complementary goods and services. Complementary means कि जो भी आप good use कर रहे हैं, if due to that some reason or the other, if it is not available in the market, then for the time being you can purchase one good as a complementary good. So that is known as a complementary goods and services. So the demand, the increase and decrease in the price level of the goods related with substitutes can be measured with the concept of cross elasticity of demand. Percentage change in quantity demanded of the product upon percentage change in consumer income. For example, a rise in consumer real income of 7% leads to 9.5% rise in demand for pizza deliveries. The income elasticity of demand is 9.5 divided by 7. So whatever the answer is, that is the cross elasticity of demand due to increase in the income of the consumer. Goods with a positive income elasticity of demand, demand increases if income increases, or demand decreases if income decreases. That means normal goods. Normal goods में condition क्या होती है? If the demand increases or decreases, it totally relate with the income of the consumer. Goods with a negative income elasticity of demand, demand increases if income decreases and decreases if income increases. That means inferior goods. So inferior goods is having a negative income elasticity of demand, and normal goods are having positive income elasticity of demand. Normal goods can further be classified as luxury or essential goods. If income elasticity of demand is greater than 1, it is known as luxury good. If income elasticity of demand is less than 1, it is essential good. Essential goods that which become a part of our daily life, and luxury goods means which denotes the status symbol of a person. Effect. Luxury goods may a proportionately larger change in the quantity demanded. In case of normal goods, a proportionately smaller change in the quantity demanded, and in case of inferior goods, a negative change in the quantity demanded. Few examples: luxury, normal necessity, inferior goods. For example, air travel. So every customer is not having that capability to travel by air, so that becomes a luxury for him. Normal necessity, fresh vegetables, whether the consumer belongs to high status, low status, or the normal status, but he will consume some vegetables. So fresh vegetables becomes normal necessity. Inferior goods, frozen vegetables. For example, frozen peas जो आती हैं, frozen मटर जो आती हैं, जो हम off the season use करते हैं, so that is known as inferior goods. Fine wines becomes luxury, instant coffee become normal, and cheap snacks becomes inferior. Luxury chocolates becomes luxury, natural cheese become normal, processed cheese becomes inferior. Private education is luxury, fruit juice is normal, and cheap oils is inferior. Private healthcare, luxury, spending on utilities is normal, tinned meat is inferior. Antique furniture, luxury, shampoo, toothpaste, detergents is normal necessity, and value own brand bread is inferior. Designer clothes is luxury, rail travel is normal, and bus travel is inferior. So these are some of the examples by which you can have a distinction between luxury, normal, and inferior goods. Cross elasticity of demand measures the responsiveness of quantity demanded of a particular good to changes in the price of a related good. That means here we are talking about substitutes. For substitutes, cross elasticity of demand is positive. For complementary goods, cross elasticity of demand is negative. And for unrelated goods, cross elasticity of demand is 0. What happens to quantity demanded of butter if the price of margarine increases? These are the examples. What happens to quantity demanded of chips if the price of fish increases? What happens to the quantity demanded of pencils if the price of coke increases? Obviously, no effect, as these goods are not related. Application of cross elasticity of demand, that where you are going to use the cross elasticity of demand. Higher indirect taxes on goods such as tobacco, the impact on demand for nicotine patches and other substitutes, rise in the price of natural gas, effect on the demand for coal used in power generation. So practically these are some of the examples where we can apply cross elasticity of demand. Next is advertising elasticity of demand. Advertising elasticity of demand refers to the proportionate change in demand of a commodity due to proportionate change in advertising expenses. Advertising expenses means those things or those expenses which you are going to spend to make or to create the awareness in the market about the product. So all that expenses are known as advertising expenses, and the proportionate when we are going to measure, so that proportionate is known as the advertising elasticity of demand. Advertising elasticity is a measure of an advertising campaign's effectiveness in generating sales. Formula is proportionate change in demand for product upon proportionate change in advertising expense. It depends upon the nature of the goods for which you are going to bear the advertising expenses. Factors affecting advertising elasticity of demand is nature of the product and time factor, timing of the promotional activities, product stage, promotional activities of the competitors, volume of advertising expense incurred, non-advertising factors. So these are the factors which affect the advertising elasticity of demand. Importance. Why there is a need to use the concept of advertising elasticity of demand? It helps the management in deciding whether the outlay on advertisement should be increased, decreased or maintained at the present level. That means it helps in determining the amount of expense which company is going to bear in the advertisement for the product, up to what extent the amount can be increased, decreased, or it can be the same at the present level. So that's why we use advertising elasticity of demand, just to maintain the regularity in the advertising expenses. It helps the management in studying the effect of the advertisement on sales revenue. That if you are going to invest on advertisement, then that advertisement helps in increasing the sales or not. Advertising elasticity also helps in evaluating the effectiveness of various media of advertisement. So these are some of the uses that why advertising elasticity of demand can be used by various companies only to increase the sales in the market. Now, how the measurement of elasticity can be done? So there are different methods by which the measurement of elasticity can be measured. First is percentage method, total outlay method, geometric method, and arc elasticity of demand. Percentage change or proportionate method is percentage change in quantity demanded upon percentage change in price, where Q is change in quantity demanded, delta P is change in price, P is original price, and Q is original quantity. So this is the formula of percentage or proportionate method of measuring elasticity of demand. Total outlay method, if we are going to measure the expenditure, up to what extent we have expenditure occurred in our company, so that can be measured with the help of total outlay method. This method was propounded by Professor Alfred Marshall. In this method, the change in price and the subsequent change in total outlay on the purchase of the commodity is compared. Formula is TO is equal to TQ into P, where TO is total outlay, TQ is total quantity, and P is the price of the commodity. Demand schedule. In stage 1, if the price of the commodity is 5, 2.50, 1.25, what is the demand? At rupees 5, the demand is 1000 units. At rupees 2.5, the demand is 2000 units. And at the price of 1.25, the demand is 4000 units. Total expenditure is the same, 5000, 5000, and 5000. So in this case, the elasticity of demand is equals to 1. In second stage, at the same price, the demand is 1000, 3000, and 7000. That means the total expenditure varies from 5000 to 7500 and 7500 to 87. So this is the elasticity of demand. In the third stage, you can see the difference in the total expenditure. So this total change in expenditure can be measured with the help of elasticity of demand. Total expenditure method. So this is the total expenditure method diagram, which you can see. All the situation can be depicted on one diagram. You can see geometric or point method. This method was originally suggested by Alfred Marshall. Under this method, the elasticity can be measured at any point on demand curve by dividing lower portion by the upper portion. That means lower segment of demand curve is divided by upper segment of demand curve. Here you can see P2, P1, P, P3, P4 is the price, and ED is the elasticity of demand. On x-axis we have quantity demanded, and on y-axis we have the price of the commodity. Arc method. The arc method uses the average of the original price and the new price and the original quantity and the new quantity to determine the elasticity of demand. Due to some reason or the other, if the price of the goods increases or decreases, due to which the demand of those goods got increased or decreased, so that increase or decrease in the price level of the commodity and the demand of the commodity can be measured with the arc method. Change in the quantity demanded, original quantity plus new quantity divided by change in price upon original price plus new price. So this is the formula of measuring the real change in the price and demand of a commodity. Now the next is demand forecasting. What is demand forecasting? If you are going to produce or if you are going to launch any new product in the market, for that you are going to have a survey कि जो भी गुड आप इंट्रोड्यूस करना चाह रहे हो, क्या वो गुड मार्केट में चलेगा या नहीं, वेदर दैट गुड कैन बी consumed by the customers or purchased by the customers or not. So, to get the actual feedback from the market about the good which you are going to invest, or for those goods which you are going to launch for the first time in the market, for that you have to take the help of the method demand forecasting. Demand forecasting tells about how much you are going to produce, where you are going to launch the product, when you are going to launch the product, and what product you are going to launch. So the answer of how much, where, when, what is can be easily taken आउट विद द हेल्प ऑफ डिमांड फोरकास्टिंग. तो जब भी कंपनी कोई भी नया प्रोडक्ट लॉन्च करने जाती है, सो दैट कंपनी विल टेक द हेल्प ऑफ द कंसेप्ट ऑफ डिमांड फोरकास्टिंग approaches. So these are some of the methods which are used by different companies for taking demand forecasting as a method. First is market experiment method. That means कि अगर आप कोई नई चीज़ मार्केट में लॉन्च करने जाते हो तो उसका क्या रिस्पॉन्स होगा. सो दैट रिस्पॉन्स यू आर गोइंग टू मेजर. That is known as market experiment method. For example, if you are going to launch one new sachet of shampoo, so you are going to launch in the form of sachet by free distributing to the consumer, or by giving it free with any of the commodity of yours. So just to have a check that if that product is going to released in the market in larger quantity, then what is the actual response of that commodity which you are going to launch for the first time in the market. So that is known as market experiment method. फॉर एग्ज़ाम्पल कि अगर आप कोई सॉस लॉन्च करना चाहते हैं तो ऑल ऑफ अ सडन आप उस सॉस को एक बड़ी सी पैकिंग या बॉटल की पैकिंग में लॉन्च नहीं कर सकते, क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं एक डर भी होगा आपके दिमाग में कि वेदर it is going to survive in the market or not. So just to take a market experiment from the market, from the customers, you are going to launch that in a form of sachet and distribute that sachet to the consumers in the market in free or with some of the commodity. तो जो भी response आएगा, so with the help of that response you can easily decide whether you are going to launch that product in the market or not. So that is about demand forecasting. Delphi method. Delphi method, in which the decision is taken in a group, which is known as a group decision making. Questions are individually asked, cross-checked, accurate decision making. So before launching a product, when these kind of things takes place, then this is known as the Delphi method. Experts opinion poll. Provide their opinion. Sales representatives, quite simple. Ask the expert that if you are going to purchase any, or if you are going to plan to launch any new product, before launching the product you are going to take advice from the expert. So that their opinion is known as the experts opinion poll, and that is the method of demand forecasting. Trend projection method, graphical method, least square method, Box-Jenkins method. Barometric technique. Changes in the overall economic conditions, future trends on the basis of index, tendency of movement in a particular direction. So this is also a type of demand forecasting method by which you can easily depict that whether you are going to launch the product according to the changing economic conditions or not, whether it is profitable for you or not. Econometric method combines statistical tools, simultaneous equations, two types of regression, simple and regression method. So no need to go these topic in detail. Whatever the content which I am delivering in my PPTs, only that content you can take as an study material. So don't spend or don't put a lot of energy on these methods, because it is only on the introductory part. Just it have a brief discussion and that's it. Now, why the companies are using demand forecasting? It helps to predict the future, that what is the future of the product in the market which you are going to give for the first time. So whenever you are going to have a future discussion, so for that the companies use the demand forecasting, keeps your customers happy. Yes, if you want to have a survey, whatever the product which you are giving to the customers, whether the customers are happy after the consumption or not, so that can also be taken into consideration with the demand forecasting. Remain competitive. If you want to be in the race of competitiveness, then you have to follow, or you have to take demand forecasting as a survey method. Reduce inventory cost. Yes, when you get the real or exact picture that whether you are going to spend on that particular good or not, so actually it helps in reducing the inventory cost as well. Helps prepare for a drop in sales. If due to some reason or the other, if the sales are not in a good proportion, then it helps in preparing that whether you are going to continue with the product or not. Prepare for new business. Yes, for new business, if you want to launch a new business, then it helps in preparing the checklist as well. Plan, prepare and test before launching a new product in the market. That means launch, test, prepare, plan, idea. That means first you should have an idea, then plan according to the idea, prepare, test and then launch. This can only be possible with the concept of demand forecasting. So this is all for this session. Thank you class. Now we will meet in the next session of the Managerial Economics. Till then, stay safe and happy. Thank you class.